Thank you, Corinne. John, thank you. Next Monday is a very specific date that the president offered up for when this ceasefire could begin, especially, as you mentioned, if negotiations are still ongoing. So can you provide any insight about why he offered up the date of next Monday and what has to happen between now and then?
He told you himself that he was getting advised by his national security team, particularly our national security advisor, about the progress that we were making and the direction in which the talks were going. We're hopeful and cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to get this pause in place very, very soon.
And then secondly, has the president been briefed or seen Israel's plan to evacuate Rafah?
We have not been presented with such a plan.
Admiral, the president referred to his hopes for a ceasefire. You have used the word pause. Previously, he has talked about temporary ceasefire. Is he shifting his sense of what kind of a cessation in violence would be, how long it would be? Anything on that is new in his view?
I wouldn't say that there's anything new, Kelly. I mean, a humanitarian pause, temporary ceasefire, they're roughly the same things. We're not talking about anything different. What we're hoping to do.
There's a difference, though, when the president says ceasefire, it carries a different sort of weight.
What we're hoping to do is to get an extended pause in the fighting. I've just called it a temporary ceasefire myself. That would allow for several weeks, hopefully up to 6, where there would be no fighting, so that we can get all the hostages out, increase the flow of humanitarian assistance, but just as critically, get the fighting stopped so that there's no more civilian casualties and there's no more damage to civilian infrastructure. Now, the last pause was a week. What we're hoping for is much more aggressive than that. And as we've said before, we also hope that if we can get that in place and both sides can abide by it for the course of several weeks, maybe up to 6, that maybe that could lead to something more in terms of a better approach to end the conflict writ large.